Well, TCF certainly believes that it's every child's right to go to school and to get at least basic education, if not more than that. Unfortunately, currently, although it is and it's recognized in Pakistan now that it is every child's right to go to school, realistically, it's not happening. Education generally is just a very, very powerful tool, and the masses in Pakistan are still lacking it to a very great extent.
The problem in Pakistan was of global proportions, in that it's not just that education is bad in Pakistan, it's that it's so bad in that 1 in 10 out-of-school children reside in Pakistan. So it's a problem on a global scale, and I think it's a problem that the world needs to wake up to.
One of the very first schools that was built was in an urban slum in Karachi, and it's in a place called Machar Colony. Machar is the Urdu word for mosquitoes, and it's basically built on a swamp. It's swampland. And I went there about 2 years ago. I was doing lots of TCF school visits, and that was the very first one that I saw. And it's left such an impression on me personally, because what I saw, I had heard of, tried to imagine, but when you see it, it's very, very different.
The level of poverty is beyond imagination for people living in this country. They haven't seen it. I think it's important. I think it's important to raise the awareness. I think it's important for them to see how people live, and for them to understand that here, I mean, there are people that will eat half an apple and throw it. And on that side, there are people who will be rummaging through trash to find that half apple.
I think it's important on a global level for people to understand the magnitude of the problem and what that can lead to. A mass of uneducated people, so you're looking at poverty, you're looking at population growth.
I think it's important to raise awareness generally in places like the UK, in US, in developed countries, because they've gone through this natural evolution where the people living within these countries are now, even the poorest person has a certain standard of living.
I think if you solve the education problem in Pakistan, a lot of other problems solve themselves. So I think you'll find that there are loads of kind of preventable health problems in Pakistan, and the root cause of those are poor education or lack of education. I think that when people are educated, they start respecting themselves and they start respecting other people. And I think education is the foundation for a kind of stronger, a fairer civil society. And I think that's what we're all aiming towards, a kind of a productive and a stronger Pakistan.
We raise awareness and we raise funds, which we then send to Pakistan, which flows directly into the schools that we build and manage over there for the kids. The vision is, I guess, manifold, but it's a very simple one. To get these kids off the streets and into schools, but not just get them into schools and make them literate. The vision is a higher one. We try to impart civic sense, to look beyond their own boundaries, beyond their own communities, to look at the national level. And then I think what really ends up happening is that you have open-minded, well-educated people who can think for themselves. And I think that's a really, really important thing right now when you look at Pakistan.
How can a person grow up confident? How can a person grow up and be able to navigate the world? How can a person be an important, contributing member of society if they haven't been educated? And that's important. And as people, as just generally people, we must learn that we have certain privileges or have had certain advantages, and it's important that those basic advantages are extended to people that don't have them.
The Citizens Foundation builds purpose-built schools, and we're looking at primary schools and secondary. So currently we have 830 schools. They are built all across Pakistan. We have libraries in all our primaries and secondaries. We have labs in the secondary schools because we have bio and chemistry. We have PC labs that are well stocked. They're all built on the same footprint. So wherever you go, they'll have the same amount of classrooms. You'll have a maximum of 30 kids per class. And what we basically try to do is to enable them to have the vision for their own future. So yes, they go to a TCF primary and then they go on to a secondary. And our kids do really, really well. I think they realize that this is their one chance and they really grab it, especially the girls.
I got introduced to some of the people in TCF and they were just lovely. I mean, the kind of commitment that they have to the cause and the kind of intent they have behind what they do, it's phenomenal. I have never met people like that. Just haven't.